What is happening, guys? I got a really good one for you today. I have a very powerful dream I want to share. And before I get into the dream, um, I had an epiphany afterwards. And that epiphany is that I noticed a pattern as dreams and what you connect with. They open doors and gateways in your own consciousness. So if you have a dream, it can manifest in a way to ensure your own perceptual awareness expands. So you have a lot of metaphorical things happening, right? I've had a lot of dreams about waves and tsunamis and things like that, which may be prophetic, but they could be both prophetic and personal. So you can see it as like a wave of consciousness and expansion. Um, I think it's smart to internalize a lot of these experiences and see how they relate to you if you have dreams. And they're also like Stargate openers or portals. So I notice that oftentimes after I wake up from a dream, I have a period of about 30 minutes in which I have what is a sense of like expanded awareness, and I'm able to tap in to parallel dimensions and realities. And I actually have visions of them often. And that's what happened today. Often after I had a dream. So I was getting all these visuals in my head of all these very streamlined parallel worlds, streamlined. But what I mean by that is that the oscillating harmonics of these realities are very coordinated and very balanced out, and they are flowing in a natural flow, as opposed to where we are, which is a very discordant and disharmonious reality with a lot of distortion, the distortion resulting from all the pain, suffering, and misery inflicted upon everything. Um, but after about 30 minutes, this would usually subside, and I would have to snap myself back into this place. But let me get to the dream now. Finally, I was in Hawaii. I know that 100%. There's no mistaking it. There's no mistaking it for any other place. It is a very unique place. The islands of Hawaii are not like anywhere else on Earth. I've never been there, but I know many people who have, and seen a lot of videos about Hawaii. So I know it was Hawaii for other reasons I'll get into. Um, so the dream started out with me watching some kind of singer with a little like ukulele. And she didn't look like a native Hawaii. She actually looked Japanese or Asian maybe. And she was kind of older, like maybe in her 60s. And I do also know that a lot of Japanese people live in Hawaii and go to Hawaii. So that on its own isn't that all surprising. So, and it was like a music video like setting. So she's kind of walking around playing her ukulele. I can't really hear or make out the music much though, but it looks like I'm watching a screen. And she is surrounded by all these other dudes that are Hawaiian or Polynesian Samoan looking themselves, except for her. And they're all just kind of following around, and it's just kind of like this silly video. It kind of just seemed kind of whatever and silly. And then kind of like my awareness kind of expanded backwards a little bit. And I'm noticing I'm with a group of like Hollywood music producer types, I guess, who like I suppose traveled there to promote this video. Whatever, I really don't know. There was some kind of social interaction between this person in the music video and us watching it, there was some kind of connection between us. And whatever it was, it seemed important to these dudes that I was with, right? And so we're watching this video, and we noticed some kind of an announcement came, or we found out that the volcano erupted. And it was just flowing magma. It wasn't like a massive, gigantic eruption. It was just kind of regular, what I presume to be is Kilauea, right? Because that's the main island of Hawaii. And by the way, look at the big island of Hawaii from space. It looks just like the head of a goat, exactly like the head of a goat. And where the throat of that goat is the Helena Slump, which is a very unstable region that can cause a landslide and mega tsunami all throughout the Pacific, which is funny because, you slice the throat of the goat, presumably. But that's not what happened in this dream, so I didn't see that. I didn't recall any landslides, but what happened was really flippin' weird. Whew. So as the magma started flowing out, it seemed like it was kind of normal at first, like it wasn't catastrophic. But then it got really bad. It started to inundate absolutely everything, and it started reaching population centers. And at that point, I started noticing dozens and dozens of helicopters flying around rescuing people, like really big Huey type helicopters, military green helicopters, shouting, announcing things, people waving outside as this magma was just like expanding like infinitely. It just wouldn't stop. It just kept going and going and going. And this is when it got to the weirdest part right here. It everything became slow motion. I'm standing on the shoreline now. I'm standing on the edge of a shoreline, and now I could see. And then, as I was standing on the shoreline, I got thrust out into the ocean, and I was looking at the island from a distance, covered in lava. And then I went back onto the shoreline, and I'm looking at the rocks. And suddenly, in the slow motion, it's like the whole island just became magma. It just became like in a split second. I was looking at the rocks, and it just completely became molten lava. It was nothing else. There was no island anymore. It was and before this happened, one important point, I think, as the observer, well, I don't know if I was this person, but I was also observing a father, what I assume is their child, and they didn't get a helicopter and were unable to get rescued. And this father was comforting him and praying because they knew they were about to die. This was right before this lava takeover took place, and I remember what they looked like. The child was like 8-year-old boy, probably, like sandy blonde hair. The man looked like he was about in his 40s, kind of very average looking Caucasian male. Um, and so as everything turned into molten lava, it just it just inundated everything. Like I couldn't see anything else at that point. Um, there was nothing. It was just a gigantic mass of lava. Just it almost looked like it started exploding everywhere too. It was just taking over everything. It was like it became the lava, then it was just like whoosh. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It was obviously not behaving like a normal volcano or even like a normal super volcano, which wouldn't really be the case. You're not going to have an entire island just instantly turn into lava.